We get so obsessed by the big challenges in our lives. You know, you're doing your best and you're staying busy, you're ticking off things, you're making progress, you're trying to grow, but you feel a bit stuck. And what if the real reason that you're stuck isn't the things you aren't doing, but the things you are doing every day without realizing the impact? The truth is, some of the biggest threats to your potential are not the dramatic, they're the subtle, the ordinary. They can feel normal, but the reason they're so dangerous is because they're small. But when you think about it, like if you do something wrong, tiny thing every day, that's like 365 missteps over the year. No wonder it's having a big impact on us. And over time, they can make us feel really stuck. And the crazy thing, I mean, number one, particularly, people even think that it's the right thing to do when actually it's really, really costly. So what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to walk through 5, I think, of the most common quiet things that people get wrong and they stop us getting to our potential. And I want to show you a few ideas, few tips that have worked for me and for some of the other people that I've coached so that you can start putting these things right. Come on, let's get straight into it. We just love being productive, don't we? I mean, we wake up and our calendar's full and we're like, oh, I must be doing something right. Or you see someone say, oh, how's life? And they said, oh, really busy. We don't think, oh, they're failing. We think, wow, they must be doing really well. But here's the thing, like motion isn't meaning. Socrates said this really haunting thing. He said, beware the barrenness of a busy life. So like, what are you giving your best energy to? Because your potential doesn't go through activity, it grows through the right activity. And I have a confession to make. I'm addicted to the urgent. If there's a ping on my phone and I know there's a notification or a message, it's almost impossible for me to ignore it. Even if I'm doing something, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I wonder who it is, I wonder what they're saying. And in that moment, is that the best use of my time? I mean, 99% it's time, it's like trivial, it's not even that important. But and with that, like what I'm wrestling with is the things that are urgent scream the loudest, but the important things, they tend to whisper, don't they? Yeah, like what's important rarely feels urgent. You know, stuff like reflecting and rest and like growing spiritually and investing in the ones we love, that stuff rarely screams at us. And if we only respond to the screaming stuff, then that shapes our life. And like, what sort of life are we building? I mean, do you ever feel like at the end of the day or the week and you just like, I've just done a lot of stuff, but does any of it really matter? So here's the question. How do we regularly include some of that important stuff in our lives so we do what really matters, whatever that might be for you? And here's the fix that I'm working on at the moment. So every week I ask myself, what are the 3 important things that I want to do this week? And I write them down every day. I just look at them and they're just there in my horizon. And gradually I'm starting to do more and more of them. Sometimes it's like exercise might be the issue. Sometimes it's like I've got to give more eye contact to my amazing wife. It could be anything. But what I find is like I do that and then the end of the week I do another 3. And sometimes it's the same thing, sometimes it's different. But it helps me like try and take a bit more control of my life and try and live a life with a bit more meaning rather than just busyness all the time. Okay, so mistake 2, and this is something that we all do, and it's to avoid pain. Often at all costs. We avoid difficult conversations. We delay things that are hard. We numb ourselves with entertainment. We choose the easy option. But here's the thing, that a meaningful life doesn't come via comfort. Like everything that you really want, like at your deepest sense, is on the other side of difficulty. You know, if you want a deep marriage, if you want financial security, it comes on the other side of some hard decisions. But our instinct, and this is really strong, is to avoid pain. Yeah, we want those things in the long term, but in the immediate, we actually want to do anything that makes our life easier and more convenient, and we avoid pain or difficulties. And it's a natural thing, something we all do. But pain isn't the enemy of our potential. It's often the path to it. That when you avoid pain, you avoid discomfort, you choose the easy thing, then you're avoiding growth and potential and all the things that really you want in the long term. And this is like one of the great themes of the Christian story. You know, I'm a follower of Jesus, and this big thing of there's a resurrection and we get invited to resurrection life, but it's on the other side of death. That's true for Jesus and that's true for us. There's no like shortcut to it. So what are the discomforts? Now, we're not being masochists here and trying to hurt ourselves for the sake of it, but like, what are the pains or the discomforts that you're avoiding, but actually you need to embrace because they're the doorway to growth? They're the doorway to like where you want to be in terms of your health or your relationships or your career or your finances or your dream of making an impact, whatever those things might be. What are the discomforts and the challenges? Because every time you say no to the hard, you're saying no to your future dreams. And it's even as simple as our like health. So I have a rule at the moment. I have this thing, it's called a Whoop on it. You know, a lot of people have Fitbits, and it assesses how much, it calls it strain. So it's how much kind of difficulty and challenge I've had in the day. That might be mental or it might be physical. And I've set a target of always being above 10, which often comes through physical exercise and that sort of stuff. And so it means I can see how it is during the day. So I try to go to the gym, and it's my goal always. So even after tea, if I'm not quite there, I'm on 7 or 8, it's like I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to get myself energized because I haven't pushed myself very much today. And it means instead of watching Netflix, I'll be out there walking. And it is challenging in the moment even. I mean, that's just a tiny bit of discomfort and irritation compared to just watching TV, but it's because what I really want is to be somebody who's pushed, who's physically strong and healthy, and that means I need to not avoid pain, but sometimes embrace those things that are difficult and Okay, this one's slightly controversial for me to say this, but I think that what do I want to do with my life is a terrible question. I think like better questions are stuff like this, like what does life demand from me? What is my life task? What is it have I been made for? And so I think the third mistake is that we don't live with a deep story. We live without a story. And thinking about what does life demands of me is a startling question. It invites us to kind of rise up and embrace some sort of bigger purpose. But most people live by this story script that they never chose, that our culture hands us one, you know. So in the culture I'm part of, it's like get a job, make some money, buy a house, then retire in peace. But that's not a compelling story. That's just like a checklist to go through, and it makes our life feel small, and that kills our energy and it kills our potential. It's not just about following what people do, it's about like living with some sort of purpose, some sort of meaning. I mean, I want to die like Wilson Bentley did. He was like the first person ever to photograph a snowflake. And in fact, he went on to take photographs of 5,381 snowflakes. That was his passion. And when he got asked why he does it, this is what he said. Let me read this quote from you. He said, "Under the microscope, I found that snowflakes were miracles of beauty. And it seemed a shame that this beauty should not be seen and appreciated by others. Every crystal was a masterpiece of design, and no one design was ever repeated. So when a snowflake melted, that design was lost forever." So he took photographs so that wasn't lost, but it could be preserved and other people can see it. And then in 1931, he was walking 6 miles through this snowstorm and he died. He died from it. He died doing what he loved. And don't you think life's like too precious for settle for anything less than what life has demanded of us? Anyway, if you're finding this helpful, then why don't you subscribe to the channel so I can keep helping you and keep encouraging you with some of these ideas. So last week I was sitting there listening to Matt Stevens speak, and I was thinking, this guy has got it all. You know, he had this consultancy business which was doing really well, making him lots of money, but it took a lot of his time, and he had this other dream of like creating something that he could sell that didn't require his time. And so he closed that business down and he started building up a software one. And the first year it made like 80,000, and then it made 150, then 300, and it kept doubling, and then it was like 2 million. It was called Impulse. You can look it up on the internet. And so in 2023, he eventually sold Impulse and make like crazy amount of money. And then he was asked for his story through like scaling that up and selling it and making lots of money. And he was saying like, what was your biggest lesson, Matt? And this is what he said. He said, the thing that struck me most about my experience is this business is never the thing. Like making money is not the thing. It's never the thing. The thing in life is like who you are becoming. And for Matt, it was his closeness to Jesus and how that was developing, who you are becoming. That like you can win on the outside but lose on the inside. And so mistake number 4 is about ignoring your soul. Like you can be admired and have everything but still feel hollow inside. When was the last time you upgraded your spiritual life? Jesus said it best. He's like, what profit do you get if you like gain everything but you lose your soul? It's like that deepest part of us. It's like what we're really about. What gives us kind of meaning and fulfillment, being connected to God and living out who we were created to be. And so if that's like important to you, yeah, do all the other stuff, but make sure that you pay attention to that, and you find, you don't have to copy somebody else's journey, but make sure that you find ways to do that for yourself and take care of that part of yourself. Okay, mistake number 5 is to neglect our body, not realizing the cost. And I'm going to give you a magical, simple health hack here that's really going to help you a lot. And we know how easy it is to ignore our health. We ignore it because it's not really that urgent. Obviously, if we have something seriously wrong, then we go and get tested, etc. But the rest of the time, we just kind of struggle on, even if we're a bit exhausted, and we can't really reach our full potential if we're neglecting our body. And it's not just like our physical life that suffers, it's our focus and our patience and our relationship. It's all connected, because our body is like part of who we are. It's how we do everything. And so sometimes if you're quite a person who wants to like achieve stuff, then think about looking after your body a way of giving you a strong foundation in order to achieve that. Okay, this is not a kind of guilt, shame complex, but I want to give you something very, very simple on how you can progress in terms of improving your health. And it's this, that you just pick one simple change that is manageable, and pick something so small that you can hardly fail at it. Just pick one thing. And so you might just be adding a banana to your lunch. You might be like doing something stupid like I do this, is to stand on one leg while I'm brushing my teeth because I want to strengthen my muscles. Or you do squats while you're boiling the kettle, or you do a 15-minute walk as soon as you finish the day's work or before you do it. You just pick one tiny thing that will build your health, that it's dead easy to do, and you include it in your routine, and you do it for 30 days, do it for a month, and then it becomes automatic. Then the next month you pick another little change. That might be changing what you eat at evening meal, or getting rid of that glass of wine before bed, or whatever it might be. And then that becomes automatic. And then you do the next thing in month 3. And then in 1 year's time, you've made 12 little changes to your life. And actually that's easy to do, but it adds up to a massive, massive change. And then in 3 years' time, you've done 36 changes. You don't have to become a gym rat and run marathons. And people burn out and they do like crazy intense stuff, which never is sustainable. Just do tiny changes and make them last a long time. There's no guilt here, but it's a mistake to neglect our bodies and our health if we want the energies in order to live life to the full. And if you found these 5 tips really helpful, then you're going to really love this video where I talk about 5 ways we can mess up our lives without even trying. Hope that was all useful, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.